This ain't rap, it's blood sport. Your life cut short, you fell short. The pressure's on high, full court.
Hello, hello. I'm back. I'm pretty sure I had COVID this last week or two or whatever it is, but I'm back now. Draft is only like a couple weeks away, and I got a fuck ton of videos to get through before that time. So let's get right into it. Today we have my top five wide receivers in this upcoming draft class. So let's get into this, and let's get right into it. Number one, I got Quentin Johnston, TCU. Amazing size, and he's very young, only 21 years old. 6'2", 210 pounds are the official measurements. He has the best frame out of any receiver out of any of these top receivers. If you look at the strengths over here, his ability to break tackles after the catch, obviously the catch radius with his frame. The speed won't blow you. It's not top of the line, but it's more than enough. And just his physicality. I mean, 210-pound receiver on the perimeter. You don't see many of those. For the weaknesses there, I put, the route running and the press coverage. It does get to him at times. He's not he still needs some time to master that route running and getting separation off the line. In my opinion, his best fits, it would be the Texans at 12 or the Packers at 15, I believe it is, around there 15. So those would be some good landing spots for him. If we look at his resume, you can see as a freshman, didn't really do much. Sophomore improved slightly, and then last season just burst onto the scene, playing 14 games, obviously, including the national championship, over 1,000 yards, nearly 18 yards a catch with the 6 touchdowns. And like I said, the 40 time 4-4, that's more than enough. Honestly, I feel like there are some people that probably thought he'd be a little slower than that, actually. So that's very good for him. 40-inch vertical. He is an athletic freak. He will go in the top 20 guaranteed. He's the best wide receiver in this class, in my opinion. Moving on, we have Jackson Smith and Jigba out of Ohio State. 6 foot, 195 pounds, also 21 years old. The concern with Jackson Smith and Jigba, if you look at his skills, he's a great route runner, amazing route runner, actually. Can break tackles after the catch, good hands, good ball skills. The weaknesses is he has dealt with injuries. Basically, in 3 years at Ohio State, he's only played one full season. Now, his freshman year, you can say it wasn't due to injuries, more so just because he was a freshman at Ohio State. He didn't get much playing time, but last season he missed a lot of time. And the top line speed, there are concerns that he cannot be a true X receiver and he has to play in the slot in the NFL. I don't really think that's that big of a deal, but if you are drafting a receiver in the first round, you would hope that they can play on the perimeter. And he does have the size for it, but he is not the fastest guy, admittedly. As far as where he could go, the Chargers, the Vikings, those teams in the early 20s, you could throw the Ravens in there, the Giants would love to have him. There is no doubt in my mind that he goes in the top 25. If he falls past there, I don't know what's going on. But if you look at his resume, like I said, freshman season didn't do much. Last season, a whole fuck ton of injuries. But as a true sophomore, keep in mind, as a true sophomore, playing with two first-round wide receivers in Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, 95 catches, 1,600 yards, 9 touchdowns, a legendary performance in the Rose Bowl against, who was it, Utah, I think. He was amazing. If you look down there at those combine measurements, 4.52, that's not great. That's not very good at all for a receiver. 35-inch vertical, that's solid, but yeah, he's not the fastest. He makes his money through his route running in his hands. That's what he does really, really well. Next up, Jordan Addison, 5'11", 175, definitely the smallest frame of anybody so far, also 21 years old. However, his route running and his ability to create separation it might be the top of this whole class, right up there with Njigba. Obviously, the size, the strength. He has dealt with an ankle injury this past season, and his hands also, I would add on there. Not really so much this season, but the previous season at Pitt, he dealt with some drop issues. Moving on, if you look at, last season at Pitt, he was the Biletnikoff winner. He was the best receiver in the country. 17 touchdowns, 100 catches. He was an animal. Over 1,600 total yards, 18 total touchdowns. And this previous season at USC, He missed some time. He wasn't fully healthy, but he still was productive. Um, Look at the combine measurements, 4.49. A little slow for him. I would have wished it would have been a little faster, maybe the low 4.4s, 34-inch vertical. So he's not a freak athlete like Quentin Johnson. He doesn't have the same frame as a Jackson Smith and Jigba, but I still think he can be a very, very good receiver. I think he actually translates as a perimeter receiver a little bit better than Jigba because he's a little faster. I think his ability to create separation on the perimeter, he has a little bit more upside for that. He's a bit better of a deep threat. So it's neck and neck between Addison and Jackson Smith and Jigba for me, but I do think in Jigba long term can be a little better than Addison, but it's a toss up. And I think Addison going back to what teams I think he could go to, I think it's the same range as Jackson Smith and Jigba. I don't see him going, possibly at 12 for the Texans because I think Jackson Smith and Jigba could go at 12, but same. I mean, there's just so many teams in those early 20s, the Ravens, the Giants, the Chargers, the Vikings that need receiver. There's no way he falls past there either. So similar range to Jackson Smith and Jigba, I'd say. At number 4, I have Josh Downs. Now, 5'8", 170, you may look at that and say, well, he has, no shot. He's just too small. I disagree. His explosiveness, his top line speed, he is a legitimate deep threat, and he has a body of work in college that should eliminate any doubts. His range is a little bit farther down. There's no way he goes in the top 20. I'll say that right now. However, I don't think he falls out of the first round. I think if he's still there at 32, I think the Chiefs take him. But I do think a team like the Giants, the Vikings, I think he goes in the 20s, if you ask me. Like I said, at college, the last 2 seasons, I mean, he's just been amazing. And he missed time last season as well. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons is rare to see. I mean, just from that consistency, 101 to 94 catches, almost 15 yards a catch this previous season. Led the ACC in receptions back-to-back seasons. Look at the combine measurements. 4.48. He is faster on the field, I'll tell you that right now. Still faster than Addison and Jigba, but he plays faster than 4.48 at 38.5-inch vertical. That is very impressive for his size. So he is explosive in that small frame. Obviously, 5'8", 170 pounds. You just can't play on the perimeter at that size in the NFL. However, he is a legitimate deep threat. He has great hands. He's a good route runner. He will be a weapon for whoever drafts him day one, guaranteed. Next up, this is a guy who I was contemplating between having him up here, and I'll go ahead and do my honorable mention right now. It's Zay Flowers. I was debating between them two at number 5, but Jalen Hyatt, based off what he did at the combine, just solidified this for me. And Zay Flowers, he's even smaller than Josh Downs, and I just don't think he has the consistency from college to be able to translate. Once I do my videos on biggest X factors in this draft class, Zay Flowers will probably be on there. But I just think Jalen Hyatt is a much safer pick here to put in the top 5. But getting to Jalen Hyatt, 6 foot, 175 pounds, also 21 years of age. He is the best deep threat in this class, without a doubt. And even better than Quentin Johnston because this guy just has an ability to get open deep downfield. He was the Blitnikoff winner for this year, and I mean, he was outstanding. Now, obviously, 175 pounds he has the height. It's just the frame. He struggles versus press. It will take some time to see the fully realized version of Jalen Hyatt, I feel. Getting into his college stats. First 2 seasons didn't do much, but this previous season, 15 touchdowns, almost 19 yards a catch. He was amazing. Won the Blitnikoff, like I said, for the best receiver in the country. 4.40, so very fast. Same time as Quentin Johnston, one of the fastest in the whole class. 40-inch vertical. So him and Quentin Johnston, they're the freak athletes of this class. They're the guys who, stand apart from the rest of these guys. And like going into the teams that could draft him, like it's this in the 20s. There's so many teams that need receiver. I don't think he falls out of the first round. I could even see him going a little high. I could see him going to the Chargers. I can see him going to the Vikings. But if he falls to the Chiefs, at 32, it might be over for the league. Because if you give the best deep threat in the draft class to Patrick Mahomes, oh man, I don't even want to think about that. But yeah, man, that's gonna do it. These are my 5 guys in order. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. I'm gonna be back soon with another video, and peace.
It's out the motherfucking pack. Right out the niggas don't know how to act.